In my 20 years as an esthetician, I have used so many skincare devices, professional, consumer use, just to see how they'll affect the skin of my clients. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 of my very favorite devices in exactly the order to use them. So if you have any devices at home, grab them and let's work together. Oh my God, I used all my good headbands and all I have is the super tiny Chinese ones. And I think it's like a head tourniquet. Okay, so welcome to my treatment room. I've been working on people all day today, so I figure it's time for me. And I wanted to do 3 machines in a row because this is how I work on my clients. I don't just do one modality. I am throwing everything I got at their skin to get the best result possible, right? Because a lot of my clients, they don't always use their machines at home. So I'm really trying to get the biggest bump in cellular activity and clearing out lymph and puffiness and stripping or releasing tension and overworked muscles. I mean, I'm trying to do everything so that the skin that they have and the fat that they have and everything, their soft envelope of tissue conforms to their skeleton as best it can. That's in a nutshell what I'm doing, right? I'm lifting muscles, I'm relaxing overly tight muscles and flushing out the gunk, and yeah, you get the idea. I have washed and exfoliated my skin, and now it is ready for some treatment. And these are usually serums that help with specific problems that your skin may have. And so I'll be working on pigmentation. I'm going to add some vitamin C in there. So you could use any product that you really love, any serum that doesn't have any acids in it. I wouldn't do this with any retinols, any of that kind of stuff, because things that you don't want to drive into the skin would be acids, retinols. So we're not going to be doing that. And we're going to go from thinnest to thickest. So the first thing I'm going to put is just a brightening serum. This has daisy leaf extract and CoQ10. It's just a really nice, it was sort of a sleeper skin brightener, and I was using it in my treatment room and I was like, wow, this works awesome. I mean, I was using it on clients post peel and before LED, and they just would respond. They do still respond really well. So I'm going to put a few pumps of this and just slide that onto the skin. And I'm thinking maybe I'll just do half my face so you can see what happens with machine usage. And we'll do some vitamin C. This is a really cool vitamin C because it has 3 different types of vitamin C and gold in it. So it's a great conductor. I love that about it. And so the order of devices, usually you want to do, I would say the most aggressive one first, with the exception of microcurrent. You always want microcurrent to be last because microcurrent works on the muscles, and you want to leave the muscles taut and toned and firm and re-educated, so and not do anything to relax them at the end. So at this point, before I put on my moisturizer, I would really like to drive this in. So I think what I'm going to do is turn on my LED. And this is the cool LED. It's got 3 different colors: red, amber, and infrared. So I like doing LED. In my treatment room, I'll do it very last because it's not gonna relax. I mean, it's not a big problem with relaxing muscles. I mean, it is, when it's continuous flow like this, it is relaxing, but it's not going to relax the muscles that you just tightened with microcurrent. I've not seen that. The face still stays plump and lifted even after LED at the end. I like to do this. This is actually, I thought for the longest time it was a 3-minute saturation point, and that means that the skin can't take any more after 3 minutes. And then my manufacturer said, no, it's 3 to 8. And I was like, wow, I've been using it for 3 and I'm still getting great results. So if you have an area you really, really want to work on, you could leave it there for 8 minutes. But generally, 3 minutes does the trick with this, especially since it's flush against the skin. You see how all the energy is going right into the skin. And I love that. Now, look, I like the masks and stuff, but if they are even an inch away from the skin, your skin will absorb less. So yeah, I'm just going to do 3 minutes, 3 minutes each section. And so at home, I would start out with LED. If you were doing LED and microcurrent in one session, you can warm up the face, warm up the tissues with the LED, and then go in and do your microcurrent. And microcurrent takes better on tissue that is warmed. So muscles that are warmed up tend to get more tone, and it just works better on warmed up muscles. So, and I mean, if you think about working out, that makes sense, right? What would I do after this? So I have the Time Master Pro. It is an ultrasound LED unit from Korea, and it has a low frequency. It's low frequency ultrasound. And so if you think about ultrasound and where that starts, it's way down on that scale. So you still can't hear it, but it's very deeply penetrating, because it's like the more waves you have per second, the more shallow the penetration is, because you've got 1,000,000 waves per second. It's not penetrating that deep. It's going to be very, very superficial. And it seems counterintuitive, but the lower the frequency, the greater the penetration. But because this device is, I believe it's 5 watts, it's not going to burn the fat out of your face. It doesn't have it's not high powered enough to like create that much heat. But do not be mistaken. This is a great little device. And so I will do this second after I'm done with this. I will do this second for 5 minutes on this side. Then we will move on to microcurrent. And that's the order you want to do it. You want to do everything before microcurrent. Now, if you're doing microneedling, no, not before microcurrent. You would want to do microcurrent and then microneedle afterwards. I mean, if that's what you wanted to do, you could. But yeah, that device has been very surprising. I mean, I've seen it start to break up glycated skin, and glycation is when a sugar molecule will mix with or cross-link with a collagen molecule, and over time it forms a very dense, unmoving tissue that sort of caps off a lot of my clients. It usually starts around the lips, but it can be any of the high points on the face. It can be the entire face. Certainly the chin. I see it a lot on the nose. And this happens, well, with chronological aging. It happens with sun exposure. It happens especially with smoking. Geez, smoking. If people are super sweet tooths, it can happen. It's just glycated skin. And we all have sugar in our diet. I think that's probably less of a factor than actually being in the sun or smoking. I've seen that Time Master Pro start to whittle away at glycated skin, and it looks like cobblestone skin. I've talked about this before. I've done videos on it. What is glycated skin? And glycated skin usually, I mean, it is the type of skin that as an esthetician, we usually cry when we see it, because it's just so slow moving and it won't repair itself, and you can microneedle over it and it just won't do anything, and it can actually make it worse in some cases. It is just impenetrable, and the half-life of collagen is 15 years, so it's going nowhere and it's doing nothing. And so I made a video called When Nothing Works, I believe, and that's the kind of skin that you can't get it to react. Now, there are some lines nowadays that help with glycated skin, but what I've found works the best for glycated skin is just to burn it off. And so I will just fibroblast over the area. And sometimes it takes more than one treatment to get all of that off. And there will be fresh skin underneath. And then I usually like to get people on anti-glycation skincare. Yeah, so the Time Master Pro really... Okay, Google, stop. Set timer for 3 minutes. So I went ahead and moved this down. this will be my last, I could do it down here too. I actually have a panel, I don't know if you can see it there. That's a panel that curves up over. Within the first 3 inches of that, it has the same depth of penetration as far away from it, which is pretty amazing. I don't even know how they did that, because usually the further you get away from the skin, the worse it is. But I'll use that for 5 minutes. It has a 5-minute treatment time, which is amazing. But it's also, it has 1,800 LEDs and it's $1,800. So it's a pro unit. It is expensive. So what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the LED and your thyroid. If you have thyroid issues, you know, I would just do this and I would just do this. I would not go close to your thyroid or over your thyroid with LED or any device like I'm doing. I happen to have hypothyroid, so it doesn't, I don't get agitated or nothing happens to me. I don't feel anything with it. Yes, so this is the order you would do it. I usually do, like if you had one of those trophy skin microdermabrasions, you would do that first, and then you would put on your creams and serums, or basically your serums, but you have to make sure that they're very gentle. I would probably, after doing something like that, I would probably just do a very gentle conductive gel or some sort of hydrating gel, and then do microcurrent, because you can just get, it can be too much for some skins. But yeah, you always want to do aggressive exfoliating, and then you move to the lighter modalities. So then you would do LED, then you would do microcurrent, and you always end with microcurrent. And I think there are so many different devices on the market now that people just get very confused. What's the order? How do I do this? When do I do this? And do you know what I forgot? I forgot the Anma. It's okay. I can do the Anma after this. This is a Gua Sha tool. Gua Sha is just a Chinese scraping massage that helps release stuck fascia. And if you think about how many expressions we make in a day, and those expressions start to etch into our face over time, and they will create stuck fascia or fascia fault lines in our face. And then circulation slows down, lymph drainage slows down, we get puffy, things start to, flow doesn't happen. And if you, okay, Google, stop. If you've watched my channel for any time at all, you know I'm always about facial flow and how are things moving, because if you don't have blood supply and you don't have garbage removal, the skin's not going to repair itself as fast or as well as if you were bringing in fresh blood supply. And oh, I actually probably need to do that over my mouth, but then you wouldn't be able to hear me. All right, so we need to take out the trash and bring in the good, bring in the blood supply so we can heal things. And so one of my trouble areas is always the resting bitch face here. Although I need to tell you guys, I did have Botox last month. I just couldn't stand it anymore. I do it once every year or two. My doctor's funny. He's like, you haven't been here since 2018? I was like, no. But that was in January. So I did it in January, and then I did it again last month because I just couldn't stand it anymore. Muscle versus skin, the muscle always wins. So you can use really great products, but for me, I have such a thin skin type, you know, of Welsh background. I just start to look very haggard up here, and I am not against Botox. I just think that we need to use any tools that make us happy, right? And this makes me happy to have a flat forehead and not look like I'm super tired and scraggly. All right, so I'm going to release that. I'm going to go up underneath here. So there's a whole routine in how to use this, but I know certain moves that work on my face well. And man, this clears out my sinuses. We're not really allowed to talk about how that works for that, but I have lived here in Indiana, and there's supposed to be some sort of toxin that floats through the air through here. I don't know if it's from burning. I don't know if it's from farms that burn all their waste. You know, farms burn so much stuff. They just burn and burn. So I'm not really sure what it is in the air, but there's something that gives people in Indiana a lot more sinus infections, because I remember moving back from Texas and I was like, what is all this sinus stuff these people have? And then it started for me. I was like, okay, great, because my mom has always had it. All right, I'm going to release these wrinkles here. I am a purser, 100%. So this is just a quickie. I recommend leaving this Anma like at your nightstand, in your purse, if you'll see it again. I don't know if you know, some people have those gigantor purses and then you put them in there and they're gone. So in your purse, if you'll see it, I don't know, leave it in the bathroom, in the shower, someplace where you're going to see it and use it on a regular basis, on a daily basis. I tell my clients, I'm like, aim for 5 minutes a day on your trouble spots, and at least one full treatment where you're working your neck and working the lymph out of here. At least once every week, once every 2 weeks, where you're doing a full treatment. You're getting the scalp and really doing a deep dive into releasing your face, neck, and scalp. But 5 minutes of this a day goes really far in helping us look rested and relaxed. And so I don't know if you can see how that cheek lifted, but all the every time we laugh and make a facial movement, our cheeks sort of they get tacked down. And so one of the first things I do to my clients is I come in here and I'm working out the tension here, and I'm releasing up here and releasing and releasing. And I have a video on that called How to Release Nasolabial Folds. So I'll put the link here. But yeah, I think my face is lopsided. I do have one cheek that's higher than the other. But anyway, so we've got some lift, which is good. Now I want to do the Time Master Pro. Because remember, we always do microcurrent last because we want to maintain that lifted look. Okay, so this is what I'm using as a conductive gel. This is a multitasking product. So I tend to love multitasking products. I want products that do more than just one thing. Thank you. So this is either a hydrating mask that you can use a couple times a week, once a week, whenever you can fit it in, and or a conductive gel. And this has green tea and azulene in it. So all you LED aficionados who know about the green tea study, you'll be happy to know that you can use this with your LED. It's clear. Well, it's a little slightly blue colored because of the azulene, which is a blue flowering plant known for its soothing properties. So this is a great product to use before you do microcurrent or Time Master Pro. So this is what it looks like. And I'm just gonna apply this generously to the side that I'm doing. So you'll notice that I've got some capillary activity going on here. That sort of runs in my family, and I get those burnt off every couple years, and they do come back, but it doesn't hurt anything. It's not a bad sign. I do have lots of blood flow to the area, so that's good. So the Time Master Pro, this is a cool device. You can use it flashing. Now, I love it all colors flashing. Now it uses the battery charge faster, and you have to recharge it more often, but the skin absorbs more LED when it's flashing, and so it's such a short amount of time, and this is a smaller LED, so I like to have that flashing effect because I feel like it definitely adds something to the treatment. So I'm going to put this off because I just did on my LED, and I'm going to put it on level 3. Okay, so you know what, maybe I'll put it on green so I can cool the skin. Green helps cool the skin. So in these moves I'm using are called vectors, and they are basically lines, treatment lines that they use. If you think about getting radiofrequency or some sort of heat-based treatment that shrinks tissue, they will use these vectors to cut across areas of common facial sag. So as we age, we get fat pads shrink, the skeleton shrinks, everything sort of melts away. And so the tissue in our skin doesn't nor necessarily shrink. So we get these sort of sausage rolls. Everything falls down and sort of inward. And we get these lines here. So all of the vectors sort of cut through those common areas of facial sag. And I was thinking about it, and I saw it on a dermatology channel, you know, how they do this. And I started doing my radiofrequency treatments here using these vectors, and I was getting better results. And then I was like, wow, why don't we just use that with all our skincare devices? It makes more sense to me. And so I introduced that earlier this year. It was called Better Results with Any Skin Device. And so, yeah, if you have a home radiofrequency device, you can do the pattern that they show you in the instructions, and then go in and do, you know, 5, 7, 10 of these 10 of these 10 movements per each vector, and get a little bit of like a micro facelift with every treatment. So wow, we're getting some serious lift. This is such an interesting device. It is. Now, once again, if you have thyroid issues, don't use it. Use it like this. You'll use it underneath the chin, up against the jawline, but facing up. And you can use it here, right? But you're never going to go down the front. Like I said, I don't have thyroid issues. If anything, it's hypo. And so it doesn't bother me. I don't get agitated. Nothing weird happens. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so these vectors, they're wonderful. You start to see a good difference after a treatment, because you'll do your normal treatment, like with the Mini, which is the next device I'm going to use. They basically do, it's a microcurrent unit, so they do a grid across the face, and you go from here to here, and then here to, you know, up. And that's the general idea. And people get great results just with that, you know, just following the instructions. But I was like, let's do these vectors and get a little micro facelift with each treatment we do at home. Yeah, so this device is really interesting. I was getting ready to say this and I got off track. Because it is ultrasound at a very low level, and so it's deeply penetrating. And you can see it if my Botox didn't, let's see, it will pull the muscle. My Botox is not letting it. Okay, can you see that? Anyway, it contracts the muscle. And the reason for that is when you make ultrasound, how it's made is they send electricity through a high vibrational stone. So that's 5 minutes. They send it through a high vibrational gemstone, rock, quartz, right? And the rock vibrates, it expands and contracts very quickly and sends out that vibration of the sound wave, or the ultrasound, so we don't hear it. And this one happens to be so penetrating that it will go, I don't know, it's probably a couple millimeters down, because it triggers nerves, right? And it will, the nerves in the muscle, and so you will get a contraction with this, which I normally don't like, especially with microcurrent. You don't want a contraction with microcurrent, but for our purposes this is nice because it makes the muscle contract, and that will flush out any lymph or garbage or extracellular fluid. It takes out the trash at the same time that it clenches that muscle. And so I think, 5 minutes of that is golden as far as like flushing out lymph. And so I don't know if you can tell the difference between the sides. So now we are going to do microcurrent. So with this device, you can plug it in to any USB port, but I like to these are these little cigarette, I guess they call them cigarette chargers or something, but they're phone chargers. And I don't use them anymore for my phone because I have a pretty good battery in my phone. But yeah, they're just the real simple kind. I have a link. I can put a link down below if you want to purchase one, if you have a Mini and you want to just be free and be able to move around as you're working. So this is how we would use the mini, and this is the order. So this side of my face is going to be really taut in tone, and it's going to be very close to my skeleton, essentially. It's going to be saran wrapped. So I'm going way too fast. You know, you're supposed to, this beeps every 10 seconds and you're supposed to wait that long. I'm sorry, Clareblend, he gets so upset with me, but yeah, go slow. I just go faster in my videos because I feel like people would click off. That it's so boring. I like this because you can. It's such. It has randomized frequencies, so it's penetrating at all these different levels, like all the time. You don't have to stop and change anything. You don't have to remember to change anything. So yeah, this is a really. It has the components. It's such a simple little device. It's easy to travel with. It's easy to learn how to use, but it has. Clareblend makes professional units too, so it has professional circuitry. Like the technology it has is up there. There are other devices that kind of run the same frequency over and over and over, and that's just not very challenging to the muscles. In this one, you don't feel it like with some other devices that are pretty zappy and snappy. So I tend to like this one better than the one we see every single place with the big bunny ears, because it just gets in the nooks and crannies better without having to change heads and all this stuff. It's just simple. And it's super lightweight. It's like the weight of a deck of cards. Love that. So yeah, and they have you go like this too on your neck, but I find that with my neck and my anatomy, that does not look good on me. Once the sheath of muscle that is the platysma that originates right here and then attaches right here, it's a sheath. And if mine gets too heavy, it looks horrible. And so I find that if I wrap around this way and sort of iron it back out, it looks better than if I go like this. Like the next day, if I did a full session where I did the vertical moves on my neck, I would look 20 pounds heavier. Oh, quarantine Pelly. So yeah, I love that about microcurrent because you can, I don't think you can mess it up. I've seen people over the years doing crazy things like going into the hairline and like, well, I feel it shocks me. I'm like, well, if you're going like this, first of all, why would you go like this? You want to go with the muscle, with the muscle fibers. If you're trying to shorten, right, you want to go with the direction of the muscle fibers. So that's why Clareblend makes theirs basically very simple, you know, this way and this way. So it's just very easy to learn. You can't mess it up. And I think the only thing people do wrong with microcurrent is they don't use it enough. So something else I wanted to add, I get this question probably 20 times a week, is can I use this device over my fillers, over my Botox? The answer is yes. Yes and no. Now, the heat from any of these devices generally doesn't get hot enough. I would say even mostly, you know, even FDA approved radio frequency for home use doesn't get hot. I would argue it doesn't get hot enough to like melt away your filler. However, I think what I do is I just dust lightly over the area. I either avoid it or I dust it or just do a few little swipes. Reason being is because the more you massage that tissue, like excessively, the more you're going to work that filler out of the area. And it just intuitively makes sense. Have I worked filler out of clients? I would say I have removed lymph. And I think people will confuse lymph with like excess volume in their face sometimes. And so sometimes people will say, oh, it moved my filler, when it really just got rid of lymph that was sitting there, that was trapped around the filler, which is kind of gross. So my solution is just to dust lightly over the area, because if you think about it, if you're trying to do microcurrent over a Botoxed area, why? It's not going to do anything. I'd rather you do, a quickie lymph drainage. I would rather you just do lymph drainage work rather than, microcurrent over Botox, because it's just, why? It's not doing anything. So yeah, I generally just dust over the area. If they have fascia that's restricted, I will use my hands and do sort of a pulling, twisting method that's very gentle, that's not going to move or break down any of the filler. Generally, if it's a really superficial filler, like the kind they put under the eyes, the kind that they put in the lips, you have to be more careful. But if it's the more viscous, more stable under the muscle type of filler, I would just not worry about it, because then it's not going to move that. But with the lighter fillers, like I said, I just dust over the area and call it a day, because I do want to activate the skin, but I don't want to excessively massage that area to start to break down the filler. Now, I've had doctors say, absolutely not, it will not move. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But I like to err on the side of caution. I don't want people pissed at me because filler's not cheap. So yeah, in my experience, I would just rather dust lightly over the area and call it a day. There you have it. I just wanted to show you the order that I would use devices when I use them in my treatment room, and how simple and easy it is to get a nice lift. Not bad. Now I got to do the other side. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye now.